Give me liberty or give me death. It's Alex Jones.
I can officially say that this date, June 1st, 2017, is one of the most important dates in world history. When Trump was sworn in on the 20th of this year, and he made the bold statements he made, it was incredibly important. It was historical, but it was only claims. It was only promises. It was only a commitment. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald John Trump is delivering the goods. The entire world government project is based on a $100 trillion per decade carbon tax, and he's set to destroy it today. And the media says, America built this. What are you doing? Yes, the globalists using American power through the UN built a global carbon tax system that would selectively be enforced against certain countries, certain industries, and certain companies and organizations. Total neo-feudalism, absolute surveillance over all human activities, kicking off a $100 trillion, predominantly private tax, run by private mercantile exchanges owned by N.M. Rothschild in London, by the Chicago mercantile trading groups owned and controlled by Barack Obama and Hillary Rodham Clinton. You cannot make up the bold Joker-level swindle. The earth is in the balance. The seas will rise. The polar bears will all die. This will happen as they buy luxury homes on the beach side and as the oceans stay at a level very constant. And as the Arctic and Antarctic get larger, they tell school children they've all melted. The great lies are falling. And as Trump prepares to do this at the Rose Garden, the controlled demolition of world government's funding mechanism, as that happens, ensconced, beginning as we speak, noon Eastern, world leaders are arriving at the Chantilly Marriott Conference Center, 5-star center, where I've been twice to cover Bilderberg. Our reporters are there now. They're arriving now. The globalists are meeting, ensconced, encamped, and their own agenda published to the world at Infowars.com, at the Daily Mail, the London Guardian. Remember, the group didn't exist before. Just 8.5 years ago, 9 years ago, when Obama was about to be elected, Hillary and him were inside there secretly. We saw him go in. The media said I was insane, having hallucinations in the woods in Chantilly. It actually said I was having a full schizophrenic breakdown, the New York Times said, even though there was Secret Service, helicopters, MP5 submachine guns. They just said, doesn't exist, Jones is insane. But then Drudge started linking to foreign European news and admitting it was real, and they had to back off. So just in 9 years, we've gone from them saying it doesn't exist to admitting it exists and admitting world government is in crisis. I have a stack of articles here admitting world government's in crisis. Soros says the European Union is now in an existential crisis surrounded by hostile powers. Yes, like the evil America. And Trump and the nationalist movement in the UK. Those are the enemies, the bad guys. Because they don't want to be under the great Nazi heir, the Nazi fortune, the owner, the hijacker of Luxembourg, Juncker, who's threatened the United States today and says, you will not be America first, close quote. You will not be America first. Ha, the insolence. June 1st, 2017. This is one of the most important days in world history. Yes, January 20th was when Trump made the commitment to try to turn the corner against austerity, against globalism, against forced planned austerity, against the eugenics plan of the global corporate combine that is the New World Order. He made the declarations that day and declared God as our leader and as the progenitor of all that is good, and invited God back into America. He invoked the birthright. That was a big day. today, if he truly kills the global 100 trillion per decade carbon tax system that is meant to track every action you have and shut down key industries and companies with selective enforcement, total neo-technotronic technocracy feudalism. If he destroys this, it's the equivalent of winning World War II. Because it is the entire global project that they've had going for 50-plus years. David Rockefeller died this year. Zbigniew Brzezinski, one of his main proteges, died. This is all symbolic because world corporate government is dying. It doesn't mean it won't try to reorganize and come back. It doesn't mean it still isn't in place in many areas, but it is. It has been identified as unelected global corporate government. Junkers, the heir of the Nazi fortune, Nazi royalty, German royalty, Prussian royalty. His grandfather took over Luxembourg during World War II with paratrooper commandos. He owns the richest country in the world per capita because his grandfather took it by force, with men parachuting in and dropping artillery in the first time it had been done. Then they went into Greece. His grandfather took a country. And he has set up the European Union with a collection of scum. It's totally unelected, and they are in major British newspapers today saying, quote, "No nations are allowed to make any agreements with America. We rule Europe, and we have an EU army, and we will march in on you." And it's just in the newspapers like it's no big deal. I've got the articles right here. Think about that. The arrogance, the insolence. Snubbed, furious Juncker, remember the Juncker bombers, vows Brussels will block trade deals between U.S. and EU states. He talks about trade wars. And then you can also search, there's articles out today about, yes, we have an EU army. You're not allowed to leave. Juncker was never elected. You understand that? Juncker was never elected. The EU Council was created in a, quote, steel trade deal in 1947, the Treaty of London. In 1956, the Treaty of Rome. I've read it. I made a film on it. And it's the whole plan. And it's carbon copy, the Nazi plan. When they finally took Europe, how they were going to economically control people, how they were going to put sterilants in the vaccines, how they were going to adulterate the food, to slowly dumb down the public until they were so mentally retarded they could just start wiping everybody out. We are under that plan now. And Trump is trying to leave it. You understand, folks? I'm not here telling you my opinion. The reason Hillary Clinton came out in a big speech yesterday and said she lost the election because of Infowars. And that we're Russian agents. She's gotten even more brazen than Maxine Waters. Even her former head PR person said it's a total conspiracy theory. Totally made up. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, Maxine Waters and Hillary now say drain the swamp and crooked Hillary came from Putin. They're now saying Nigel Farage, who started UKIP 25 years ago, and who is a right-wing libertarian patriot, is a Russian agent, a person of interest. This is ridiculous. Because these are the globalists. So look at these headlines. Again, you identify world government, you identify it's unelected, you identify it's authoritarian, and then you identify its agenda to people, and it's game over. We have now achieved phase one. There aren't just evil people in the world. There are good men and women as well. Phase one is very close to being complete. Phase one is all about courage, because you have to actually read the globalist white papers and their statements and find out that they're so dug in what they've done with the GMO that's already affecting our genetics and the vaccines and the nanotech and the vaccines and the chemicals and what they've done and their admissions of what they've done, the deformity, the mental illness, the plague that you're already seeing in the public with the low IQs and the faraway stare and the dream state people are in, they're putting people into an induced dream state for the next level. Ladies and gentlemen, cancer is up in children again, over 10,000% on average. Breast cancer types over 3,000%. Diabetes, several thousand%, type 2. They're killing us. You're going to have to admit, I'm going to explain something. The EU is unelected and is run by German royalty, the number 1 or number 2 most powerful royal house in Germany, because they had German states. Prussian royalty. Top Nazis, top arms producers. Juncker was number 1 arms producer in World War II for the Nazis. That man is threatening us and threatening Trump and is directing Soros to shut down independent media and to go after the press and Trump publicly. Juncker, whose grandfather sat atop the Nazi system at the highest level with Hitler, is now directing a 89-year-old Nazi collaborator. Was he 87? You cannot make this up. These people are pure evil, certified. And Hillary says, I say the most horrible things about her, and I'm so dark-hearted, and I'm so evil. Lady, your whole career was defending pedophiles and child kidnappers when you first became a lawyer. That's what you chose. Your husband is an admitted sex pervert who flies around with known pedophile and known child traffickers. Your top people constantly are getting busted with little kids and child porn and sneaking kids out of Haiti. The UN just got caught. You think I want to go up against you? You think I'm stupid how evil you are? But the children demand it, lady. So I commit my body, my heart, my soul, everything to Jesus Christ, and I stand on Christ against you. I know who you are, and you're not facing my will. You are facing the will of God. I am not an arrogant Satanist like you that is all about my own personal power. I stand humbly in dirty rags before God, but I will not sign on to your Satanism, and I see you, and I know you, and I stand against you. God stands with us. And your satanic forces of Islam, and your satanic forces of Hollywood, and your satanic forces of NAMBLA, and all of you will be broken. You will be broken. In the name of Jesus Christ, you will be smashed. So rally your gods, because there's only one true God, and that's the God of life and all the blessings and the mastery that we see in the creation of that God. Trump is not a servant of death. Trump is not a servant of poverty and failure. Trump is not a servant of those that would persecute children, and that is his sin. And any of us that do not serve this system of death are the enemies of the world system. World awaits, that means globalist. Trump's decision on U.S. future in Paris Accord. They never tell you it's a carbon tax, a global government. It's always the polar bears talking to you like you're 5-year-olds. EU, China unite behind Paris climate deal. As Trump mulls U.S. withdrawal, I told you, it's the EU, it's communist China, and it's the globalists, the Democrats in Hollywood. They admit that in CNN. The Pope's involved, rallying against Trump. Soros says the European Union is now in an existential crisis, surrounded by hostile powers, like America and England. Oh, the bad guys, America and England. Poised to announce it very soon. The world built a climate deal for the U.S. Trump may be about to leave it. No, robber barons hijacked America and used it to build the world government, and now we took America back to command base and we're destroying it. Oh, and look what happened to the stock market. It's back up. Then private sector job growth rebounds to rip-roaring pace in May. ADP, the nation's largest payroll system, announces. Private payrolls add 253K in May versus 185K. Americans' comfort rises on strongest view of finances in decade because globalism is meant to make us poor. Of course, Trump's taking the foot off our neck. Oh, he's such a hero. Yeah, that is being a hero. He's not a vampire. It doesn't mean he's perfect. The enemy truly hates him because they know. And now Bilderberg meets. They've been meeting since 1954 in secret. Global leaders, mainly from Europe and the United States, and they admit in their own agenda they've now released, it's no longer private, no longer completely secret, because they've now been identified. Oh, from conspiracy theory to reality, it was always there. Now you know about it. They admit on their agenda the takedown of Trump. They're meeting outside D.C. right now. We'll be covering Trump's historic press conference the minute it goes live. Lord Monckton has been at the tip of the spear for decades fighting the global carbon tax system. Be popping in the next hour. We're going to have open phones from then on after. But I tell you, it is very, very humbling, and it's beyond a feeling of fear. It is a feeling of extreme responsibility and shame. Most people get a lot of power, and they become arrogant, they become crazy, they become megalomaniacal, because they're not purpose-driven for the great mission. So many good men and women don't ever seek power, so they just sit there on the sidelines and let bad people basically run things. And they want to run things and tell you what to do. Good people just simply want to be examples and try to build a better world. And to have Hillary come out and call me a dark heart and come out again, I'm going to play this later, and say that Infowars is why she lost the election. And that we were directed directly with the Russians, and that we advised the Russians. I mean, this is just, the way she puts it's total lies, but the way it's true. We are creating the global talking point, but we didn't invent it. We're resurrecting the Renaissance. We're resurrecting Western civilization. We're resurrecting our better angels, basically. And we're pointing out how the global system's unelected, and how it's tyrannical, and how its real program is to basically phase humans out and merge with machines. I mean, here it is in the Daily Mail today. Artificial intelligence will outperform humans in all tasks in just 45 years and could take over every job in the next century, experts claim. And they pretty much all agree, because that's where it's going. The decision has been made. You read MIT, you read the white papers. The decision was made by the 80s to phase humans out. So you see the PR and the movies and the cartoons they show kids in public schools in Europe and the United States, where it shows us blasting off in rocket ships and going and spreading disease, you know, and infecting planets like we're a pox. This is a very anti-human globalist group who operate like they are some alien invasion force that runs the media trying to convince us all to commit cultural suicide. And I'm not saying they're aliens. I'm saying the Bible says it's interdimensional, and it's a big, bad entity. And whether you believe in that or not, the elites are killing little kids, drinking blood, torturing people, and they believe they're channeling off-world stuff. And they believe it's not even another dimension. They're communicating over space-time continuum through the dimensions. And again, I'm a sociologist. I'm a lay anthropologist. I study what they write and what they believe in. And when they get on their knees in the morning, when they get on their knees at night, it is like something right out of The Golden Child, where the door closes and the bricks all disappear, and what is thy bidding, master? Enslave the children, kill them all, disease their blood, bring in evil, have them commit to more evil, prepare the death and destruction. I mean, it's just like when you actually study these people, and I've been around them some, they'll go, of course we're going to take over, and we're unstoppable. I mean, you think I'm the only guy that can act like that? I act like that because I've seen them act like that since I was a teenager. It's like a Stephen King novel, man. My life's been incredible, and see like it is now. But it's only because I've seen them. I've been aware of it. Because there's not just evil in the world, there's good. Can you guys pull up from Julius Caesar, Shakespeare's, just type in, fly havoc and let loose the dogs of war? I want to read that full passage. It starts with Antonin. He's talking about the death of Caesar and how great evil was going to then come into the world. If you guys can put that on screen, I'll read it now, or I'll read it when we come back. But Great evil is coming into the world. Great good is also coming into the world. And you're going to have to decide which side you want to be on. It's that simple. Anthony. Blood and destruction shall be so in use, and dreadful objects so familiar that mothers shall but smile when they behold their infants quartered. That's all chopped up with their guts hanging out. That mothers, let me start over. Blood and destruction shall be so in use, and dreadful objects so familiar that mothers shall but smile when they behold their infants quartered with the hands of war. All pity choked with custom of fell deeds, and Caesar's spirit ranging for revenge with 8, that's hunger, by his side come hot from hell, to the hunger of hell, shall in these confines with a monarch's voice cry havoc, and let slip the dogs of war, that this foul deed shall smell above the earth, with carrion men groaning for burial. That's right, living zombies, rotting men who cannot die because they are the living dead. The archetype of the zombie, living but dead, consciousness gone, turned over to Satan. We'll be back.
They said in October I'd be dead in 6 months. It's also what happens when you listen to the radio host, Alex Jones. I don't know what happens in somebody's mind or how dark their heart must be to say things like that. We came, we saw, he died.
The intervention led by NATO to topple Gaddafi has led to a failed state.
Maybe Libya was not perfect under Gaddafi, but it had, even if to some extent, a functioning government, one unified country. It was a sovereign state. Libya now has 2 rival governments, a civil war that has left over 4,000 people dead, and its cities are in ruin.
I don't know what happens in somebody's mind or how dark their heart must be.
Women are treated, discriminated against in all of these countries she took money against. Gays and lesbians are either executed or punished severely. They're mistreated. She claims to be their champion.
We let ISIS take this position. It was Hillary Clinton that she should get an award from them as the founder of ISIS.
We had this brilliant idea that we were going to come to Pakistan and create a force of mujahideen, equip them with Stinger missiles and everything else to go after the Soviets inside Afghanistan. And we were successful.
And this really just is so disgusting.
When Vince Foster left his White House office on that July day in 1993, he told his secretary that he would be back. But the deputy White House counsel and boyhood friend of Bill Clinton never returned.
There has been this urgency to end this. And, you know, historically that makes no sense. We all remember Bobby Kennedy was assassinated in June in California.
Google is being accused of hiding negative stories about Hillary and her campaign by changing its algorithm to bury stories like the Clinton body count story. That's according to website Infowars. If a Google user types in Clinton body, they get car repair shop results instead of a story that talks about a list of people tied to the Clintons who have died under mysterious circumstances over the last 3 decades.
Whistleblowers go to significant efforts to get us material and often very significant risks. We have upcoming leaks in relation to Hillary Clinton. You know, the emails we published show that Hillary Clinton is receiving constant updates about my personal situation. There's a 27-year-old who works for the DNC who was shot in the back, murdered just 2 weeks ago for unknown reasons as he was walking down the street in Washington.
I don't know what happens in somebody's mind or how dark their heart must be.
The Alex Jones Show, because there is a war on for your mind.
I'll admit it. I have an extremely dark heart. I do. I have a multifaceted heart. My loving, soft heart is about 10 times bigger than my dark heart, but my big, fat, black heart is probably bigger than yours, Hillary. But I never acted on evil technology. I never acted with the knowledge of evil. I never used it because I've got a conscience and a soul pointed at God. You are a weak little demon that was given temporal power because you sought it and because you would do anything. And you were then denied all of the real birthright you could have had. Satanist, enemy of the children. I was thinking about it. Hillary Clinton is an enemy of the children. That should be her title, enemy of the children. In fact, the globalists are enemies of the children, enemies of humanity, enemies of our future, enemies of our success. All they talk about is how much they hate us, how much better they are than us, and how we need to die and get out of their way. I have a better idea. If you like death so much, how about you slit your own throat? I don't wish any harm upon you, but if you like death so much, then you grab a big, long dagger and you jab it into that fat neck and you slot it across those carotid arteries. If death's what you seek so much, and if death's what you love so much, if death is your God, then go to your God. I've seen you before and I know your name. Now, the enemy will be overthrown. But you better know that it will not be without a price. But that's the great riddle. That's not a riddle. Why people think about doing the right thing as if they're going to lose something. You only lose not doing the right thing. Temporal power on this planet means nothing. To be around a bunch of mentally ill, out-of-control psychopaths and sociopaths and mercenaries and trash is the most empty, peacock existence that you could have. The great secret is the enemy lives in a nightmare prison. Their fortresses, their palaces are prisons. In Revelation, Satan, Lucifer, the devil, the black serpent, he's locked up for 1,000 years on review. People come and they marvel. They say, that is what did all this? That ruled us? That deceived the world? That killed billions? That creature? When you realize how powerful you are in the image of God and why that creature wants to destroy you and wants to destroy children, the essence of creativity, the essence of the seed of the universe, the essence of what we are going to become. And you have these weak-minded people that resonate with the devil so they can then carry out their operations against humanity, and you care what they think or what they want. Standing on this bridge and watching this creature stomp towards me, I don't have fear. I feel nauseous at how much I'm like that creature. Because with great knowledge comes great sorrow. The Bible, again, all true. The profane can't understand it. Because they're not meant to. Because they made decisions. And their ancestors made decisions to turn away from God. My ancestors, thank God, didn't. That's why the enemy doesn't know. That's why they can't stand us. That's why they know they can't beat us. And they try to find out why they can't defeat people that love life. And why every time those that love life and God are about to be defeated, we always win. And it's because of the mastery of what God has created. Our ancestors, fools, set their will against you over the thousands of years. In the mind of God, being able to actually tune into that, they understood what was coming in the future and could envision the future in the purity of those days. And we're transcending through the genetics, it's electrical, into time, space, to today. Everyone out there, every one of your ancestors is alive coursing through your electrons, coursing through your blood, coursing through your body, into your very cells. Your mother, your father raised you, loved you, that mother, that father, all continual. Back thousands of years, thousands and thousands, you transcend time, space. You're already living forever. That's why they want to kill children. It's why they don't want families. It's why they want to get rid of the sexes. These creatures aren't going to stop till we're all dead. Who cares about Hollywood? Who cares about celebrities? Who cares about crap? Who cares about being part of this system? It's all a joke. It's all a con game. It's all a lie. You've already arrived. You're already somebody innately when you point your soul at God. I just feel sorry for those that have been so long willfully turning away from God when God came knocking, that God gave them their free will and let them be turned over to complete evil and oblivion. I've got a bunch of clips. I need to get to Hillary and the rest of it, but I look at her, self-serving witch, predator, a hater of God, a hater of justice, a lover of twisted filth. And I think, how did a monster like this ever crawl out of hell and get its hands around our children's throats? And every bit of my humanity that's pointed at God says, stand, hold fast. And quite frankly, these Satanists look for power. They're so foolish. If they really love God, they'd be given so much power, and they would be so ashamed of the power they had, because the vessel holding the power wasn't even righteous enough to even be able to imagine the mind of God. You fools, the whole mind of God is waiting for you open. But you don't want to be part of that. You don't want communion with the God of justice and life and light and everything real. That's why your God calls himself the God of light. A fraud, a counterfeit. You are the God of darkness, of failure, the God of cancer, the God of betrayal, the God of weakness, the God of loneliness. And everything it sells is poison. Everything it does is meant to make you weaker, to cast you down, to destroy you. And I just don't like con artists. I mean, look at this. Uma Abedin, humiliating U-turn Hillary. Hack invites Wiener back home. I said when she was divorcing him 2 weeks ago, that was a stunt. Those two are nasty little buggers. Nasty, 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 nasty Renfields. But let me explain something. Uma Abedin and Anthony Weiner, those are just ghouls. Those are just slaves. Ugly, weak, twisted, fallen. So that Hillary can feel powerful around them. And then look at that radiating dark force if you're watching on TV. Hillary behind her coming out of the darkness. I mean, that is somebody turned over to evil. That is somebody turned over to a power trip about how great they are. And then why does Hillary hate me so much? Because she knows I'm not scared of her. Because she knows, despite everything they've done, I only wish I had more energy to fight them. And it's not because I'm a hero. It's because I am running from them. They smell so bad spiritually. They're so demonic. They're so rotten. They're so filthy. They're so diseased. They're so twisted that my resisting them is like a person trying to get oxygen. It's a life and death struggle. My very cells recoil at Hillary and Bill. I don't want to be with them for eternity. Fear of God is only recognizing good from evil. You call it fear of God. It's fear of being fallen. It's fear of being separated from God. God's love is so pure, so massive, so all-encompassing, and you see everywhere the mastery of what God built and everything God did and how it's all reward and loving and pure and honorable and all perfectly lined out and prepared through the processes of life and just all the magic and the rites of passage. And the enemy seeks to take those rites of passage away and destroy our humanity. Everyone should be recoiling from it. Thank God Trump is preparing to destroy the climate carbon tax system. Thank God he pulled out of the TPP, an outrageous foreign world government made in secret that was supposed to administer the carbon tax. He is the equivalent in his executive orders and actions of thousands of B-17 bombers dropping bombs on Nazi emplacements in World War II. The devastation weekly is the equivalent. And Juncker and others classically shoot their mouths off in arrogance and say, I've got the quotes, you won't have America first, we'll stop Trump, we're rallying with China and the Vatican and the Democrats and the Republicans to defeat you. And we'll defeat the Americans. Soros is in the newspaper, CNBC, saying it's America and England and Russia against the EU like they're the good guys and we're all Russian stooges. Russia just pulled a face sucker off of it 20 years ago halfway and is trying to crawl away, halfway bleeding to death from the New World Order. So, of course, the globalists go, look, the Russians, oh, look, America. All it is the Russia has decided in its 800-year history to join the West. Russia has embraced the West. Russia has come out of its feudalism and its systems and its reprogramming 80 years under Bolshevik globalist Goldman Sachs attack and is now struggling for identity, struggling and is now attempting to keep its identity but join the West in prosperity. And the globalists are panicking, like Hillary says, and the Russians don't know how to manipulate our politics. They got it from Infowars, and they got it from WikiLeaks. And so I thought we were being ordered by the Russians, but now Hillary finally had to tell the truth. And I'm not bragging about it. People have to understand why this is an important broadcast, why we're under attack. Because we are speaking the truth. And I don't care if you're in Russia or on the continent of Africa or Asia or South America. It doesn't matter where you are. You know this is true. They're announcing world government, microchipping to buy and sell. It's all on the news. Forced inoculations all over the world being announced. They're saying the family's bad. They're invoking racism to get us all fighting with each other all over the country, saying no whites weekends and all this crap to make whites racist. You know, I'm not really even going to plug this hour. I'm too focused. I probably should because I got to fund the operation. We extended the Memorial Day specials. Some of them are the biggest specials ever, like on this colloidal silver and things like that. Super Male Vitality is just good herbs that are, you know, really healthy and good for you. Vitality, stamina, you name it, that's available. That's 30% off. Bunch of big specials, InfoWarsLive.com. That's how we fund the operation. We'll be right back.
So within 1 hour of the Access Hollywood tapes being leaked, within 1 hour, the Russians, say WikiLeaks, same thing, dumped the John Podesta emails. Now, if you've ever read the John Podesta emails, they are anodyne to boredom. But they...
Yeah, we had him here once.
Yeah, but they were... forgive him for what he said about you, so they were run-of-the-mill emails, especially run-of-the-mill for a campaign. Should we do this? What should she say? I don't, the stuff that is so common, basic. Within 1 hour, they dumped them, and then they began to weaponize them. And they began to have some of their allies within the internet world, like Infowars, take out pieces and begin to say the most outrageous, outlandish, absurd lies you can imagine. And so they had to be ready for that, and they had to have a plan for that, and they had to be given the go-ahead. Okay, this could be the end of the Trump campaign. Dump it now, and then let's do everything we can to weaponize it. And we know it hurt us.
So there's Hillary basically saying Infowars, WikiLeaks cost her the election. The full video's up on Infowars.com. Lady, everyone was going through the WikiLeaks. Mainstream media, though, wouldn't put the damning stuff out there. I mean, there's top Democrats talking about we got to keep our constituents poor and in the dark and helpless. And clear talk about, spirit cooking, Aleister Crowley events. We're going to have blood and semen and mother's milk on the menu. And then they admit they're doing these rituals, and then all the weird sex stuff. And then Podesta's brother has naked pictures of kids with their butts sticking out in the Washington Post saying, I'll have DeviantArt if I want. I mean, you guys are sick. And you got Jerry Epstein, his Alita Express, and all that, and Bill Clinton's rapes, and your Haiti mission caught doing it, and your own people caught shipping kids in mass, and the UN caught just killing hundreds of kids and trafficking thousands. I mean, I could go on for hours. It's all mainstream news. You just hang your hat on a pizza place that the media focused on, then people talked about and said, is there something there? And I said, hey, I think this is a honeypot. So then I'm the one that pulled back. Yeah, that's not the one. That's his brother. It shows like the kids sticking their butts out. I don't want to show it. It's in the news. Children with their little naked red butts paddled. He talks about it in the news. Don't put it on screen, guys. Images of what looks like 6-year-old girls, all lined up. There's worse. Just don't show it. I can't look at it. I got daughters. It makes me really get angry. I'm not mad at you. I don't want to show it. There's even worse stuff than that. This is what they show the Washington Post. See, because the lesser magic is if he can be all creeped out in the Washington Post, smiling demonically, his sick brother. Let's just show a picture of him and then show all this weird art in his house and say, it's ours, we'll do it. I'll show paddled neighborhood kids if I want. See, that's about throwing it in our face. That's what they're into. Just heaven help us. And that guy's, of course, hooked in with the Russians reportedly and all the rest of it. So before I go any further, just please support the broadcast. Z-Shield that detoxifies the body from heavy metals, all other garbage. That's 25% off. New product we've got. It's great. Introducing the new Emmerich's Essentials. That's excellent. You get 25% off when you sign up for auto ship on that, because I really want you to sign up and reorder and see how great it is and try it out. 10% off on all the other products when you sign up for auto ship. And we have got continued here. Probably need to get a list of those, but it's like 65% off on colloidal silver, 47% off on our great nootropic Brain Force, and so many other great products that are available right now, and it helps support the broadcast. InfoWarsStore.com or InfoWarsLive.com, and thank you all for the support.